The hottest new apps on Ethereum resemble an old favorite, the Ponzi scheme. At least that's the early consensus on FOMO3D and POWH3D, two of the platform's top 3 apps entering Tuesday. According to data website DappRadar, both games have amassed 20,000 Ether, $9 million in trading volume over the last 24 hours, a figure that puts them on par with top decentralized exchanges and that exceeds the highest highs of CryptoKitties, the blockchain's most famous viral decentralized application, Dapp to date. Perhaps unique to both projects though is how they create an incentive to bring new people in so users can share the spoils as they do so. Both applications also collapse if new users quit joining in a way that's similar to a basic pyramid scheme. However, these particular games make it much more complicated, and maybe more fun. At the core, they seem to be taking the ideas of pay-per-bid auction models that were popular in 2009 to 2011, except instead of selling real products for the bid price, they sell nothing tangible or of real value, Sid Kalla, of token project consulting firm Turing Advisory Group, told CoinDesk. In penny auctions, people paid a tiny amount of money to make a bid on a real item. The final winning bidder might get a deal, but the organization running the auction would make many times over the price of the item from the fees collected on the way to that bid. At least then auctioneers took on some risk, the cost of the item and operational costs. With these games, there's none, except perhaps indictments. Both projects appear to be by the same group, which calls itself TeamGist. The creators are keeping themselves anonymous and were not immediately available for comment. The two products have sparked a furor among crypto enthusiasts, who are warning buyers not to support what they allege are pyramid schemes. JP Thor, CEO of Kongya, a startup funded with an initial coin offering, ICO, wrote on Twitter, "One thing for certain, this thing won't end well," but financial blogger JP Koenig was more philosophical, writing on Twitter, "It is human nature to seek out gambling opportunities like Ponzi's. Till now the only option has been shoddily run offline Ponzi's. If Ethereum's relatively clean Ponzi's displace the bad ones, the world is a bit better off." As Koenig points out, Ponzi schemes are nothing new on the blockchain. DappRadar founder Skirmantas Januskas pointed out POWH3D on March 31 with the Medium post. "Let's be honest, this is a pyramid scheme. Every user is getting paid for the users that join later," he wrote. But what seems to be developing now is a sense of traction around the projects. While POWH3D has been on the blockchain a while, it wasn't till mid-July that it started to really rise on the Dapp charts, perhaps helped in part by TeamJust's follow-up, FOMO3D. And it may be that the game's very sketchy nature was part of the charm. Both projects have sites that make light of their approach. In many ways, they strike a similar tone to July 2017's useless Ethereum token, the ICO that measured buyers' contributions in the number of big-screen televisions its creator could purchase. He raised about $80,000 or $310 ETH at the time, promising nothing. POWH3D as the rise of these newer games shows, though, that promise still seems to work. The POWH in POWH3D's name stands for Proof of Weak Hands, using a token called P3D and a custom decentralized exchange for users to buy it and sell it. The creators added some elaborate features to make a relatively simple and familiar idea more fun on a blockchain. Every time someone does either, it levies a 10% fee. That fee is then distributed to everyone still holding the token. So, people holding P3D get paid as people come in, and they get paid as people go out. It also rewards users for creating affiliate links that draw people in, and rewards them for sticking around over time. It calls these functions staking and mining, as the site puts it. Yes, our staking and mining systems are comedic jabs at cryptocurrency as a whole. They're also immensely more fun, and reward in ETH instead of something that may have value later, and its creators argue that you can't call it a scheme if it's upfront about how everything works. "We recognize that a trustless smart contract managing value in this way simply was not possible before this point in computing history. There's no scheming here at all. It's upfront, honest and completely transparent." FOMO3D, which launched on July 8, is another TeamJust game that recalls The Button, an experiment that ran on Reddit in 2015, which itself evoked penny auctions, without any money on the line. In the Reddit game, a simple button was accompanied by a 60-second timer. When a user clicked the button, the timer would reset. If no one clicked it, the timer would run out and the game would end. It took 2 months and over 1 million clicks before someone let the timer run out. FOMO 3D works in a similar way, except pushing the metaphorical button costs a little money. There are now over 21,400 Ether, nearly $10 million, on the line at the time of writing. Users of the game buy a key, and each purchase sets the countdown, currently at around 24 hours, back by a certain amount. As the game's wiki explains, players receive a stream of passive income from the game as keys are bought during the round. These rewards can be withdrawn anytime. To massively simplify how this very weird game ends, fundamentally, when the countdown runs out, the smart contract drains, or pays out. Winners depend on which team a person joins, and, to make it weirder still, part of the winnings can even go to holders POWH3D's token. In that way, it's helping convince users in its first game to stay in. And it seems to be working. FOMO 3D has far more transactions over the last day so far than its predecessor. FOMO 3D consciously evokes the seedier corners of the cryptocurrency industry. The username of the last player to buy a key is splashed across the site with the warning that they're exit scamming, the practice of taking investors' funds through an ICO and making off with the money rather than building whatever product was promised. Scam or be scammed, creativity and humor aside, most think the change in tone isn't enough to brush aside concerns. I think it appeals to people as a way to gamble with some exciting rules of the game, Kala said. Given some of the time frames on which this operates, it wouldn't be surprising to see this run for a while before losing steam. For some critics, the cheeky references to scams are a bit too on the nose. The most upvoted comment on one Reddit thread about FOMO 3D, "My wife still doesn't believe in me," is a reference to the most notorious, recent crypto Ponzi scheme, BitConnect. The joke may be on the players though. Peter Shilagi, one of Ethereum's more well-known developers, took the time to detail an attack that could potentially take one of the schemes down on Reddit this week. Which raises the question, if the stakes behind a game designed to rob its players get stolen, did the thief really do anything wrong? The answer may be one that adapts. Users are soon to find out. Foam Pyramid's image via Shutterstock. The leader in blockchain news, CoinDesk is a media outlet that strives for the highest journalistic standards and abides by a strict set of editorial policies. CoinDesk is an independent operating subsidiary of Digital Currency Group, which invests in cryptocurrencies and blockchain startups.